Today we're going to be discussing the law of attraction, the secret, and its lies. I'm Brett Venat.
And I'm Nathan Frazier.
And this is Mindset and Mastery. Well, Nathan, I think one of the things that is the unique spice that we have here at Mindset and Mastery is our integration of two different viewpoints, mine and yours, for similar purposes. So you have opened many doors to me as far as like manifestation, mind power. These are kind of things that I think I had like turned away from or grown increasingly skeptical about through the years. When I first heard about them, maybe, 15, 20 years ago, I was in a very new agey environment and doing lots of wild explorations. And I was initially attracted to these things. But through the years, I became more of an objectivist, very interested in neuroscience and psychology and hard data. And what I've realized in the last couple of years is there's much more of an overlap in these two seemingly distinct worlds. And I like that we let these ideas clash and find out where they blend together. And today we're going to be doing one of the more controversial takes on that, something that is widely known, was widely popularized about 15 years ago, called the law of attraction. And it gained popularity through a documentary film and a companion book called The Secret. So what is the law of attraction? Why are we talking about it?
Before we do, I want to address your point. I want to just tell a story. I also am very objectivist minded. I'm very materialistic minded in certain aspects. But I want to just say I'm a marketer and I know how important attention is. And I know how much the directing of attention can alter people's realities. And I went to a concert last night and the music's playing and it was 4:20. As we're recording this, it's 4:21. And so I'm smoking some weed and there's just this energy, this vibe that's going on. The music in combination with what's going on in my consciousness with the influence of the marijuana, the cannabis, and this just crazy like feeling of watching these people up on stage direct the energy of everybody else in the crowd. And then I see that they have these two giant monitors on either side of the stage. And there's people with cameras, and the cameras are being switched on and off by somebody who's managing the board of whatever cameras are being shown. And electronically through the air, the image from the cameras is going to the person controlling what's being shown, and then it's going to the big monitors. And all of this stuff is happening without wires. It's just happening because what's going on over here is being projected over here. It's being manipulated and then projected over here. The artists up on stage are singing or rapping or whatever into microphones that don't have wires. And all of this is going on without wires. It's just somebody over here is doing something and it's causing something over here seemingly magical to happen. Now, it's not magic because we understand the science behind it. We understand that there's invisible forces that we can now manipulate that we can't see. We know they're there. We know how to manipulate them, but with our eyes and our hands and our ears, we can't actually sense these forces that we're manipulating. And my belief, and what becomes more and more clear to me every day, is that there's a lot more of that going on in the world than we currently understand. And a lot of the stuff that gets called woo or manifestation or magic or whatever it is just science that we haven't completely figured out yet. Much like the ability to take an image from one spot and invisibly transfer it to another piece of electronics way on the other side of the stage, that might seem like magic to somebody from 200 years ago. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to the law of attraction, a lot of it is just technology or science or understandings of the universe that we haven't completely figured out yet, but I feel are just as relevant as radio waves or Bluetooth technology or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes down to attention management, like understanding how the brain works and how to manage attention and focus. So this actually comes to us through a better understanding of our evolution and our neurology. We have something in our brain called the reticular activating system. It's like at the in our dumbest brain, like right at the top of the spine. And, this is a survival system, which basically helps us, recognize danger, threat, those kinds of things. So it's still there. While our brain has grown up and become much more advanced around this system, that system that still makes us worry, that still makes us afraid, it's present. And it doesn't have a lot to do anymore in these lives of incredible comfort that a lot of us enjoy compared to life of 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 years ago. So it tends to point that focus, to point that attention at negative things. And that hijacks a lot of the mental and emotional power we have.
And our attention, especially if we know how to direct it properly, our attention can have influence or even manifest things in the universe around us. And I think that there's a lot of truth to it, but I also think that the law of attraction in The Secret, it was missing a lot of stuff. And it's just kind of like, just take our word for it. It's just how the stuff works. And so I kind of wanted to talk about some of the things. I remember when the book and the documentary or whatever first came out, and I was very much like you at that point. I was into all of this woo stuff, and then I moved away from it. And then I've kind of moved back towards it a little bit. And so I kind of wanted to talk about my experience with the law of attraction and why I think it doesn't work for most people, but why I think I've been able to make it work in my life to pretty extreme measures.
So to just parse this into explaining the law of attraction through the more of the woo and maybe simplified take that you get in the movie The Secret versus a more like rational metacognitive approach, I would say that the main thrust or the thesis of The Secret is that if you change your beliefs, you change your reality, which I think we would both agree is true. And we've known people who've pointed their attention in negative directions versus positive directions, and we've seen the disparity in their results. Because The Secret is short, I think people walked away from it with this idea that you'll pull into your life whatever you want, whatever you focus on, and there was a lack of emphasis on action. I'm sure it's mentioned by some of the interviewees in the movie, but people probably miss that because, as we both know, people are really into quick fixes, simple solutions, simple explanations. So yeah, about 2000, I think the film came out in 2006 and it exploded in popularity. It was truly viral in the sense of the word at that time anyway. And then it kind of crashed into the butt of a joke as time went on. Like, oh, are you doing like The Secret? Law of attraction. And we've participated in those jokes through the years, I'm sure. I think a more rational take on what the film presents is that it is an invitation to break your conditioning. Like I already talked about with that reticular activating system, we have a biological program, and we also have, lifelong programs that were installed through schooling. They're maintained through media. Obviously, there is a lot of scarcity mindset presented in mainstream media and in politics. There's a ton of scarcity mindset and black and white type thinking presented in school as well. It's very apparent in the culture of win-lose. So this invitation to break your conditioning is an alternative to living on the autopilot of those programs. And once you are able to recognize that you're living on autopilot, you become a kind of observer. And what do you notice about yourself? What do you notice about your thinking and your beliefs once you are that observer? And even through, I had an experience with the book we read recently, Feeling is the Secret and As a Man Thinketh, where just by reading those books, I became a better observer of my own thoughts. And I think I improved my ability to watch those thoughts go by instead of becoming consumed by them, or just as dangerous, but almost on the other side of becoming consumed, letting them exist in the background and not calling them out, not paying attention to them. So they just become like the default or the baseline of our thinking about certain things. So once you break from this autopilot and start to look for ways to break your conditioning, which is very present in the suggestions of this film, The Secret, you start to become a better observer of the things that might be holding you back, that might be stopping you from manifesting, to use one of their words, more of what you want in life. So I hope that that's a more rational take on what the film is trying to propose.
Yeah. And so I kind of wanted to go through a couple of the things that I think were left out of The Secret, and some of the things that I've noticed that I implement in my life that I've learned from different people along the way. Me and you kind of had a geek out session about one of my favorite marketers, Joe Vitale, and he talks a lot about this stuff. I think he might have even been featured in that film. I've been going through some of his content. I think that you have before we recorded this as well. And there's other people out there that I think they go deeper, and I've gotten some insights from them that I implemented and actually started seeing results. And I just kind of wanted to go through some of the things I feel are left out of The Secret, that if you implement them, you'll actually get the results that are promised in The Secret and the Law of Attraction.
Yes, I look forward to hearing this.
So you already kind of mentioned one, and that's just taking action. It's right there in the word, Law of Attraction. Action is right there, but they don't really emphasize it. It's kind of more this idea, just put a vision board up and put the things that you want to happen, and they'll magically come. There's like the vision board makes them happen. And I think that there is some truth to, once you have a clear intent, the universe will start sending you hints and clues and start clearing the path. They say once the student is ready to learn, the master appears. I think there is some truth to that, but you can't just say, hey, I want to learn Kung Fu, and then expect a Kung Fu master to show up and sign you up and get you your karate gi and set up the class around your needs. You have to take some action. You have to kind of compound the coincidences in your favor. You have to stack the odds in your favor. I think a lot of this is your intent helps the universe, and this is again going to be woo, but your intent helps the universe know what your desired outcome is, but you still have to put some effort into stacking your odds in your favor, or stacking the odds in your favor towards that desired outcome. Clearly defining it, saying this is what I want, is good, but you also have to put some sweat equity into it yourself and ensure that it happens. And I think that that's one thing that you really harp on a lot, and I don't want to say harp in a bad way, but you really drive home the importance of your actions, of not just thinking positively, not just mental masturbation, but actually forming habits and actually taking action towards things. That's one of the things that was really left out of The Secret. It was just create a vision board, put a picture of the car that you want and a picture of the girlfriend or boyfriend that you want up on the vision board, and that'll make it happen. And huge lack of emphasis on following that up with actions of your own.
Yeah, I think the first important action is, you're not just thinking it, but you're trying to communicate the desire, in a visual way helps, but communicate the desire to your mind is really, really important. And I think that people believe that this is a conscious process. At least that's how it's described in The Secret and other like surface skims across the law of attraction. But it's really about the unconscious, and it's about an understanding of the subconscious and what goes on there. That's where many of our autopilot self-limiting beliefs exist. They have to be called into the conscious. Again, as Carl Jung suggested, they have to be interrogated, and ultimately they have to be deleted, or at least like accepted and integrated as part of your personality that is there, but not running the show. So that is like the primary action. The follow-up action is, like action, like doing stuff, like looking back at a day and saying, did I move myself towards this vision, towards this desire in meaningful ways today? And then, going a step further and saying, were they big ways or small ways? Am I kidding myself when I say I move forward because, I read another blog post or watched another Joe Vitale video, or did I do something that is really like effective to that end? So that's the interrogation of action that I think is important.
Yeah. Intent without action is just intent, and it doesn't make it happen. People say knowledge is power, and that's true. Knowledge is power, but it's even more powerful if you put some action behind it. The next one is, I think I see this so often, both with working with my clients and in my own life and in the lives of people around me, not being clear enough with your intent. A lot of people say, I want to make more money. Okay, what does that mean? I want to have a beautiful girlfriend. Okay, well, what is beautiful? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. What do you mean by beautiful? A beautiful personality, a skin-deep beauty, blonde-haired beauty, a brunette-haired beauty, a bald-headed beauty. Who knows what beauty means? The more you give, whether it's your subconscious mind or the universe or whatever it is that makes this stuff start to click into place and starts revealing the path for you to follow, the more clear you are on what it is that you want, the more likely either your subconscious brain will start working to make it happen, or the universe will start working to make it happen. But if it's just a fuzzy outline, for me, if somebody comes to me and says, hey, Nathan, we need a marketing campaign and we want it to bring in more sales. Okay, that doesn't help me at all. That's a very fuzzy want. You've got your desire, but you're not giving me very much to work with. So the more fuzzy, the less defined what it is that you want, what it is that you desire is, the less that your subconscious brain has to work with, the less that the universe has to work with. But the more clearly defined, the more when you can come to me and say, hey, we're going after people who are 35 to 45 with this amount of income, with this type of hobby, with this type of political belief, with this type of desire and goal. If you can give me a clear definition of what it is that you actually want, you've given me a lot to work with, and it's much more likely that I'm going to be able to give you something back that fits what you want. But if you haven't been clear with what you want, I have no idea what to do. The same thing is going on in your subconscious mind and with the universe at large. If you're not clear with what you want, it's not very likely that it's going to manifest for you.
Could you talk a little bit about what that process looks like of getting that kind of clarity? A really bad question for me to ask would be like, how much time should this take? Because there is no should. Obviously, it depends on, are you talking about an individual or an organization, right? Like we want to boost sales, or I want a great landscaped yard, right? Are two entirely different things. But creating that vision, like what should that process look like? Instead of just saying, I want this vague thing, I want this specific thing. But how does a person go about, in your mind, or maybe from your experience, how does a person go about actually developing that vision for themselves?
I think the first thing is asking why. I want a bunch of money. Why do you want a bunch of money? Is it so that you can enjoy experiences? Is it so that you can have extra security? Is it so that you can spend less time worrying about work and more time being present with your family? Why do you want a fast car? Why do you want a beautiful girlfriend? Why do you want a successful business? And spending some time getting the 3 or 4 levels into why. Why do I want more money? Because I want more freedom. Why do I want more freedom? Because I want less restrictions in my life. Why do I want why do I want less restrictions? So going through and going levels and levels deeper as to why each thing, then you're able to get much clearer on what it is that you actually want. Once you know why you want something and what the end result of why you're working for something, when you know what that is, then it's a lot easier to be clear about what it is that you want. But if you've only gone one layer deep into the onion about why you want something, it's very difficult to clearly lay out. I guess one of the things that we talk about in Mindset and Mastery, the course, is there was a time where I wanted more clients. I said, hey, I want more clients. I want more people paying me to write their copy. And then I got that. And I had 5 clients or 6 clients at once where I'm trying to write for 6 different businesses. And I was like, I hate this. I did not want more clients. What I wanted was more financial freedom and more ability to be creative. But now that I'm trying to juggle 6 clients, yeah, I've got a lot more finances, but I'm not freer. I don't have time to spend the money. It's just sitting there. And I don't really have the ability to be more creative because my creative juices are flowing in 6 different directions. And so I'm not being able to give 100% creativity to any particular individual course of action. And so I realized I don't want more clients. What I want is a few clients who I really love working for, who pay me enough to keep me from worrying about my financial situation. And so at first, the fuzzy thing was I want more clients. But then when I got into why I wanted more clients, I realized I really don't want more clients. I want fewer clients doing work that I love doing and being paid what I'm worth.
So it really is about making the distinction between a genuine personal desire, something that is intrinsically motivated, from a supposed to, or an externally imposed expectation. I want to be a successful copywriter. Okay, what does that mean? Having a lot of clients? Okay, then I want a lot of clients. That is not genuine desire. That's like the externally imposed. So that's the supposed to. Well, if you want to be successful, you're supposed to have a lot of clients, but maybe not for your specific set of needs and wants and strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, I think that clarifying that why for yourself is super, super important in building a detailed vision of like what direction you're headed in, for sure. That's helpful. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. I think the next thing to talk about as to why the law of attraction doesn't work with people, at least with most people, is because they don't do the hard work of addressing their subliminal programs. This is a big thing that we talk about again in the Mindset and Mastery course, is addressing your subliminal programs. And if you just say, hey, I want this thing or I want this result, but you're not looking at your subliminal programs, you're only doing the surface level work and you're probably self-sabotaging yourself. A lot of times we say, hey, I want this, but then we have all of these things going on in our mind. The examples I can think of is like, it won't work. It won't work for me. I don't deserve it. A big one is Impostor Syndrome and I don't deserve it. I want to have a bunch of clients. I want to have perceived dominance in my industry. I want to be seen as a thought leader in my industry, but I don't really deserve it. I'm not really as smart as so-and-so. I'm not really as accomplished as so-and-so. I'm not really someone who deserves to be followed. And all of these subconscious programs that we have going on in the background where we say we want this thing, but then we say, well, I want more money, but more money means more problems, and more money means you can't trust the people around you because maybe they're just hanging around you because they want some of your money, or more money means more taxes, or whatever the case may be. We say we want these things, but then we have these programs going on in the back of our mind that are stopping us, preventing us. Every time we're about to take action on the thing that we want, we have this thing in the back of our mind that says, it won't work for you. Don't even try. Or you're not qualified enough. Don't even apply for that job. Or you don't deserve it. Why should anybody follow you? Why should anybody take your advice? Why should someone subscribe to your YouTube channel or follow you on Twitter or whatever the case may be? We want these things, but then we have these programs that we don't even realize that are playing out in the back of our mind. And a lot of us talk to ourselves very quietly and subtly and subconsciously. The things that we say to ourselves, we would never let someone else say to us. We would never let someone say these things to our best friend, but we allow ourselves to subconsciously say these things to ourselves. We tear ourselves down. We set ourselves up for failure. We are constantly whispering poison into our own ears, and we don't even realize it. And so a lot of times the reason that we're not getting the things that we want is because we're telling ourselves we don't deserve them. It's not going to work for us. All of these stories that we're telling ourselves that we're not even realizing we're telling ourselves. So it's impossible to run a 2-minute mile if every time you go to lace up your shoes, your brain is telling you you're too fat, you're out of shape, you're going to have a heart attack, it's never going to work for you, you're not somebody who can run a 2-minute mile. And so if you want something and you're like, why isn't this manifesting for me? A lot of times it's because of the subconscious programs that are running in the background that you haven't taken a look at and you haven't examined and written programs that actually serve you.
Yeah, and this is the big part of the excavation that we do in the mindset and mastery training that we've been building. So I had gotten some great, I think it's great advice. It's at least thought-provoking advice from a mutual friend and colleague of ours a couple years ago, just on the whole thing of those thoughts that come up and create friction in the things we're trying to do. I'll be taxed more. I'll be taken advantage of. People will deceive me. Spend less time worried about getting screwed and spend more time worrying about being worth screwing. You know, so like make yourself worth screwing. Put your energy into that instead of worrying about all the ways that somebody could screw you. Right? Well, you keep yourself in this unscrewable state. That doesn't benefit anybody. So, yeah, but that is really, I know I mentioned self-limiting beliefs a couple of times, but you really fleshed that out. So I appreciate that. That's helpful.
Yeah. And then this last one kind of goes into what the very first point that we made about action, but can't really be realized until you've kind of done some of this other work as far as like addressing your self-limiting programs, not being clear with what your intent is, etc. And that is living into the identity of somebody who does deserve this. If you don't think you deserve to be followed, if you don't think that you deserve to lead the type of company that you want to lead, if you don't think you deserve to have the type of girl or the type of guy or the type of they, them in your life that you want to have, if you really want this thing, but you don't feel like you deserve it or you don't think it'll work for you, the trick is to start living into the identity of somebody who does deserve it. Okay, what type of person does deserve love and happiness? What type of person does deserve to have somebody who brings them fulfillment in their relationship? What type of person does deserve to have a massive following and influence over hundreds or thousands of people? What type of person does deserve to have a successful business, a successful ad campaign, whatever the case may be? What type of person does deserve that? If you don't think that you deserve it, why don't you think you deserve it? What can you change about yourself that would make you think that you do deserve it? And then start living into that identity. And for me, this is going to sound a little bit woo again, but I actually, with one of our friends, Landon Porter, he worked through this with me. I actually created the identity of the person that I want to be, the person that does deserve the things that I want. And we did this exercise about 2 years ago, and I clearly defined who that person is, kind of like our North Star Avatar training. The North Star Avatar training is a little bit more in depth than what me and Landon went through. But who does deserve this? And how do I transform myself into that person so that these things start flowing to me rather than me having to fight to get these things, rather than me having these subconscious roadblocks that are stopping me from taking the action to get these things? How do I become the type of person? How do I live into the identity of someone who does deserve this? Well, first I had to become clear on what type of identity that was, what type of person that was. And then I had to start going through and saying, what am I doing to stand in my own way? And how do I start helping myself along rather than standing in my own way? And so we can imagine that we deserve or we want the universe to bring us a beautiful girlfriend, but maybe we don't have the best hygiene habits, and that's standing in the way. And we know that, I can make out with this awesome, beautiful girl, but I haven't brushed my teeth in 3 days, and so she's probably not going to want to make out with me again. Okay, well, start brushing your teeth every day. There's these little things that we know or we believe are not in alignment with what we want, and aligning your identity to be in harmony with what you want, then you don't have those subconscious mental programs saying, I don't deserve it, it won't work for me, because now you're saying, I do deserve it. I'm more and more every day becoming the type of person that does deserve it, that it does work for. And so again, the law of attraction, living in alignment with somebody who does attract those things is very important, but they never go into that in the documentary or the movie.
So I think you need to come at this from two directions. I think you're going to agree with this because we talked about this in our fulfillment show, where in that show, we were talking about having a vision or a purpose in life, which might relate to the North Star avatar creation. And then we also talked about habit, right? So habit is a starting point, while this purpose or vision or avatar is something off in the distance, right? So those are the two directions in terms of law of attraction, or the power of attraction or manifestation, whatever you want to call it. If the law of attraction is poison for you, you can think about it like this. In the far away, we want to keep that real and fresh and developing through some kind of repetition and imagery. So it's like, it's in our consciousness. It's something that we're practicing. We're filling that imagery and that repetition with passion and emotion, which we're also going to talk about in the future on this show. So that's the far away. That's the energy you're putting into the far away. The one step in front of the other, or 1 foot in front of the other, immediate steps you have to take. I got this from our friend Joe Vitale, who I've recently discovered thanks to you. A great piece of advice, and this relates to the advice that we've been giving for a while about habit. Take 5 action steps in the direction of that desire each and every day. And like I said earlier in this conversation, don't kid yourself about what they are, right? So that means probably clarifying an outcome, understanding a path to getting there, and recognizing the things that are actually helping you move in that direction. Now, those 5 things could be distinct from one another. They could be sequential, but be honest with yourself that they relate to moving you in that direction. I think another immediate thing to do, this kind of relates to gratitude, which you probably want to, we talk about gratitude a lot, so we might want to mention that before we're out of here, but finding evidence of abundance in life now. Everybody who's listening to this can do that for sure. So those are two, I think, immediate ways of what it looks like to be living into the identity of somebody who deserves this North Star avatar life that is further away, or vision or purpose or larger mission.
Mm-hmm. And then another one of those things that I don't think people understand as far as the law of attraction works is a practice of gratitude. A lot of times this is for, especially for like people that have high goals and high achieving type people, we're so focused on the top of the mountain. We're climbing and we're looking up, and the top of the mountain looks so far away. And every time we look up, it's just this daunting task, and we're nowhere close to it. And we don't spend very much time looking back down the mountain and being grateful for how far we've come and where we're at right now. And the way that I like to think about this is, especially in pertaining to the law of attraction, I want this and I want this, and how come I haven't got it yet? I put it on my vision board 3 weeks ago and I still don't have it. I feel like we all have, or maybe we are, that friend that gets invited to go out and never comes out. Hey, we're all hanging out tonight. We're going to grab some beers. We're going to watch the game. You want to come over? Oh, no, I've got some stuff I've got to do. I've got some more important things to do. Hey, we're going to go hang out with Jimmy this weekend. You want to come over? Oh, no, I got some honey-do list stuff that I got to get done. When people invite you over and over again and you never show appreciation, you never reciprocate, you never go out, eventually they stop inviting you. And the same thing with gift giving or whatever it is. When especially like when two people are in a relationship, one of the things that kills a relationship is when you just come to expect the nice things. When somebody brings you flowers and you don't even think to say, dude, this is so awesome. Thank you so much for brightening my day with flowers. Or your wife buys you a new watch and you don't even show it off to your friends. When you do something for somebody and they don't show appreciation, they don't show gratitude, they don't show any kind of reciprocity for it or anything like that, when every time that you do deliver something to somebody, they don't even make a big deal about it, they don't even, every time you invite them or every time you do something for them, you just basically get the door slammed in your face, you're going to stop doing stuff for people. And so if you, as a recipient of all of the miracles that the universe is providing, whether you believe it's the way that I do, where it's some kind of conscious communication, or whether you're just somebody who's looking around at all of the stuff around you, all of the beauty in nature, all of the miracles that human beings have been able to create, to build, to bring into being, all of the fact that we're on a planet soaring through a vacuum and we're the perfect amount away from the sun to make all of this amazing stuff possible. And you never stop to say thank you. You never stop to show appreciation. The universe is handing you miracles every single moment of the day. And if you're not stopping to say thank you for this, even if it's just a penny that you found on the ground, thank you for bringing this extra wealth into my life. Somebody smiles at you, thank you for that kind interaction. Something awesome happens for you, and you can just take it for granted, or you can show appreciation. The more you show appreciation for things, the more things will become abundant to you. The more that you take your friends up on the offer to go hang out, the more that you show appreciation every time your wife does something special for you, or every time your husband brings home flowers, the more you show appreciation for the things you're already being delivered, the more it encourages people to do more things for you. Rewarded behavior is repeated behavior. If you want the universe to continue bringing you things through the law of attraction, you need to start showing more appreciation for the things the universe is already bringing you. And I feel like that was very long-winded, but I feel like I had to say it that way in order to really drive the point home.
Yeah, I think when it comes to gratitude, acknowledge it, feel it, right? So acknowledge it, reciprocate it, feel it internally. I would even say record it, like make all you need is a pen and a piece of paper to write down 3 things every morning that you're grateful for, and to make that a practice, because doing that will help you point your attention in that direction versus, all of the things that you lack or you don't have, like that old Chinese proverb that we talked about. Get on that mountain of all that you do have instead of being in that valley of all that you lack. Don't go searching the internet for that Chinese proverb. I made it up. But that idea and like practicing that, and it's easier to practice the more that you feel it, that you feel it is genuine, and also expressing it to other people and getting having that feedback loop, that emotional feedback loop from others is really, really helpful too. So yes, that's an important capstone on this whole conversation.
So I'm going to end it with this. We appreciate you taking the time to check out this podcast and give us your attention. And we would really appreciate it if you share it with somebody you think can benefit from hearing this message. And by our appreciating you, hopefully we'll attract a bigger audience.
Yes, absolutely. Some ways you can do that if you're watching us on video. The thumbs up is cool. Leave a comment. I said in the recent monologue to the podcast, I love reading YouTube comments, even if they're from the craziest people. Like, don't be shy. If you're crazy, write it. I'll read it. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, here's a blast from the past. Leave us a review and a rating on iTunes. Or if you don't even know what iTunes is, whatever podcatcher that you're using, I'm sure has a way to rate and review. All these different platforms have this built into them. So do that for us. It would help us reach new people. And it's a nice certificate of appreciation that you can. Where did I steal that from? Certificates of appreciation?
Ray Edwards, he calls money certificates of appreciation. I'm not paying you money. I'm paying you certificates of appreciation.
Right. So we can start by asking for gestures of appreciation, and that's one that we would certainly be grateful for. So thank you.
All right. Also, if you want some bonus material from us, you can always head over to mindsetandmastery.com. We've got some extra goodies there for you as well. And until next time, Brett, I will catch you later.
Nathan, catch you later.